that book was one that really cemented that I had to do it, regardless of how old I got. I had to do law because I saw how Atticus Finch, one of the main characters, helped people. He didn't look at skin color. The theme of the book is racially charged, but he helped a black man. He, as a white man, helped a black man nonetheless. And it wasn't about money. It was just helping because he could, helping because he had a good heart. My sojourn into law really did not start out as I wanted it to go, but nonetheless, I am here now, and I too believe in helping persons. Sometimes I take on too much, so I have to ask for strength and guidance and really what to take on and what not to take on. But my philosophy is that if I can help somebody, I will help. And if I can't, I'll channel them in the journey or the path that they should go to get the help. Sometimes you don't physically have to help a being. Just advising them how to go about a problem will assist them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Attorney Duaney. And I move right across to Mrs. Pedro. Mrs. Pedro, just reading your bio in my last session, I knew that you worked for a long time in the HR field, but you are now in the people building field, I call it. You are now leading your Mastery of Me, and you're now helping women to grow. What was that turning point for our audience that led you out of the HR field and into this people building field?
Well, Janice, first, thank you so much for having me here. I feel on cloud 9 this evening. I'm really honored, happy to be here. So that pivotal point was really, as you know from our last session, was, I like to tell people it's a long story, far off in another land, another time, and another space. When I was head of HR and my CEO called me and asked me to advertise a vacancy internally. Sure, that's fine, only to find out when I looked at it that the vacancy was my position. So that was the beginning of my journey to where I am now. I was eventually terminated and I started with HR consultancy. And there was always a tug in my heart and my soul to support women. I started about 4 years ago. I started and I stopped. And then during COVID, I wanted to support people because everybody was so, negative towards the doom and gloom as COVID hit us. And I wanted to do something to help me myself, my husband. And I decided to run a series of free training program. And from that program, some women reached out to me and said, Charlene, I want to work with you. And that really was the beginning of me supporting women and the beginning, the birth actually of Mastery of Me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that small beginning. Dr. Marcia, I'm coming right over to you because we do know that based on the last program, you are leading one of those smaller schools, but you're making a great impact where you are. Share with us what motivated you to pursue and stick with leading a small school, and what is most important to you regarding your team.
Okay, good night, everyone. And I must say how happy I am to be here also. I was led to a small school as when I was led to the school that I now am, I got 4 jobs all at once. And they were all large schools, very big schools. But then as a Christian growing up, I always asked God to lead me on the path that I can do the most good. And so I was led to this small school and I became the voice of a community and not a school. And the importance for me of those persons from which I work is trust. We must be able to trust each other, our actions, our words, and so on. And so building trust and maintaining trust is extremely important to us. Because when you're in a small setting, you have to be able to trust those who are around you because it is a very small family.
Absolutely. Trust is important, Dr. Marcia. Thank you for that in every aspect of our lives. Dr. Rosemary, you are also holding down a significant position. You are leading 13 southern states of the United States of America, the Jamaican American diaspora. How did you get there?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. And my beautiful sisters, good evening. Dr. Janice, I was always a community leader from Jamaica as a little girl. And so that followed me. And I see the need to energize others. I see the need to help to empower my sisters and my brothers too. And so I was always in a leadership position, and anything that I can do to create that kind of harmony within the community, that is what I am geared for. And that's what I'm doing.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Rosemary. And I'm coming right back around the curve. But before I go any further, I just want to pause to say, if you came into the room after we start, we are having a night of a night tonight, because on the same stage, we have welcomed 4 influential women. Yes, 5 influential women on this, on this stage. And they are sharing their work with us. And each audience, I want you to ensure that you take away something from here tonight that you can use, because that is what we do. We build people and we change lives. I come back to you, Attorney Duane, because what you do there is kind of a hot thing happening right there, because the last time I knew that we had to bring you in for 2 separate weeks, because the people across the Caribbean, not just Jamaica, they wanted to hear about the different things that you do. You specialize in so many different areas. And I almost want to ask you how you do it. Real estate, probates, wills, trust, criminal justice, family law, all of these things you specialize in. But I want you to talk to our audience a little bit, to tell our people, because I know that there are many persons across the Caribbean and the United States, Canada, and England, and wherever they're joining us from today, who think a lot about ownership of property. What would you tell persons about securing their property in order to still retain ownership of it?
Okay, thanks for the question. Ownership of property is a ticklish question. It's a ticklish topic overall because of acts of fraud and just dishonesty. If you are a title holder living in Jamaica or abroad for a parcel of land, that is a land without any structure on it, have an overseer of that piece of land. There is a concept in law called adverse possession. In simple terms, it means capture land. If you do not show your stamp on that piece of land, somebody can come and take it over. Legally, the law allows for that. Likewise, if you do not have a title, you still have to show ownership for the land if you have been in possession. So there are persons, a number of Jamaicans don't have a title for a piece of, or any proof that a piece of land is theirs because it was given to Uncle Thomas through Auntie Rose, Uncle Ben, cousin, auntie, brother. You're following me? That's how we own land in the Caribbean most of the times. So if you have nothing to show that the land is yours other than it being passed down, still have someone oversee your property. Overseeing the property means that they can plant it up, because we're talking about a parcel of land that doesn't have a structure on it, a house, a shed, nothing at all. So they can oversee the land by planting it up, putting vegetables or whatever. Overseeing the land can mean you ask Master John or Miss Mary to tie her goats and her cows on the land to say it is being used. Also, you may ask your cousin down the road or up the road to put a fence around the property.
Mm-hmm.
It's really stamping your authority that this is yours. The law in Jamaica allows for any land that is left vacant, dashway, nobody no business with it, for 12 consecutive years, somebody has that claim for that land. So say for instance, for 7 years, you did nothing. In the 8th year, break that person's possession. Go pay your taxes, tie some goat on the land, put up picket fences, plant some crops on the land. So you have to show ownership. So it's just as how a man would put a ring on it, put your stamp on the land.
Wow.
That explains it as
wow, and wow.
Yes.
That is why you had to be in this room, because in this room you are going to get a little bit of everything that you need to use tomorrow, or to give to a friend, a neighbor, a relative. Somebody is going to need to use this information that we are actually sharing in this room tonight. And I want to move over to Mrs. Pedro, because the last time she spoke so eloquently about standing in your power. And I want, there may be persons in this room who want to know, how do I really stand in my power? Talk to us, Mrs. Pedro, just